Come take a trip to Western New York, where we will write about the signs of spring together. Hi, Wild Writers. I came outside to film for you today, and it is raining, but I thought I'd stay out here for just a minute because rain is a sign of spring. So if you look in here, you will see a vernal pool on our property. And as you remember, as you are learning, a vernal pool vernal means spring, and it's a spring pool that's only around for spring. It will dry up in the summertime. It's a place where frogs and toads may lay their eggs and little tadpoles will swim around. We don't have any in there right now. I was checking a little bit earlier, but I'll keep checking during our time together, and perhaps we will get to see some over this course of time. If you look now, you can just see the little raindrops falling in there and making ripples. I'll be quiet so you can hear the birds too. Way off in the distance, I can hear a woodpecker. When I use those deer ears that I just learned about in the Sheldrake video. It's behind me, the woodpecker. One thing that can be great is to find a place in nature where you return to again and again. Some people call this a sit spot, where you sit, observe, come back, sit, observe again. Do you hear the patter of rain even harder? More ripples in there. I might get pretty wet out here. Calming to be out in nature. I will see you soon. You may be thinking about a good sit spot for you. You can visit this window or outside place again and again when you write and draw, even over many years. And so, let's begin writing together. Hello, kindergarten and first grade writers from Mamaroneck, Wild Writers. It is good to see you, and we are thinking about signs of spring this week. I also took the field trip to Sheldrake through my computer, and what a beautiful place. I then took some walks through my yard and through our property to think about the signs of spring I can see. And today, what I'd like to share with you is a kind of writing we can do that ties to signs of spring. And this kind of writing is called writing a riddle poem. Now, first I'd like to say something about science. One thing important in science is that we can recognize different plants and animals based on the patterns that we see and observe when we look at them. This flower you can see has a very particular pattern. It's purple, it has 5 petals, it's small, it has a golden center, and its head seems to hang down a little bit. When I see this flower in my yard, I know that it is a violet because it follows the violet pattern. So to write a riddle poem, what we do is we think of something that is a spring, anything really, but for this week we'll think about signs of spring. And you may go back and re-watch the clips of the naturalists from Sheldrake showing us signs of spring. You may choose to go for a walk with someone in your family, or to look out your window, or to visit Sheldrake and think about what signs of spring you see. Then what I did is I made a list of many signs of spring. I'll read you some of it. Daffodils, tulips, violets, which we just saw, sunshine, tree buds, trout lilies, which we looked at in the video, skunk cabbage, bird nests, grass, tadpoles, mud. All of these are signs of spring, and there are many more. So if I were to choose violet, and I talked a little bit about the violet pattern, and I wanted to write a signs of spring riddle poem, what I would do is I would give clues on each line of the poem. And poems just fall down the page. They have short lines usually. I'll read it to you. I am small. I can be purple. I can be white. You can eat me. I am a flower. Who am I? Now, I already told you what it was, but it is a violet. And you might not have known that you can eat violets, but actually you can put them on salad. And what I did is, here's the poem, and on the bottom I turned it upside down and I wrote, I am a violet. So I tried this with a robin too. I called it Spring Riddle. I can fly. I eat worms. I have a red chest. I am a sign of spring. Who am I? I turn it upside down. I am a robin. So to write a riddle poem for spring, think of some of the things you have seen and that you are observing about signs of spring, and then think of what pattern that object or that animal or that plant follows, or something in the sky or on the ground like mud. And for your poem, each line list a new characteristic, and then at the end you might ask, who am I? Or you might have a question mark, or I am a question mark, and you can see if people in your family, or even if you're Zooming with any other people, can guess your riddle poem. So I hope that you get outside a little bit, and even if you can't, you can look outside and open a window and listen. Perhaps you hear in the background, as I do with my dear ears, the birds that are singing today near my home. So I wish you joy in your notebook. You can write on anything, but I have started a nature journal, and you might choose to do that too. We'll talk more about nature journals next week. A riddle poem is just a bunch of short lines describing something. You might begin your lines with, I am, I eat, I live in, I can, I say, I like, I have, my color is, I start with the letter, or your own lines. Happy riddling. And remember, when you finish writing your riddle poems, read them to others to see if they can figure out who or what you are writing about. Here are some more signs of spring from around my home. These are early snow glories I planted last fall. Here is our kitty, Fiona. She's our youngest kitty. We have 5. She's soaking up some sunlight. These trout lilies are poking up through last year's leaves. They are strong. Earlier this week, I went outside and saw one violet. A few days later, I walked to a different part of my yard and I saw all of these violets. Just look at them in the sunshine. We have an old milk house with something special inside, but right now you can see the buds from that tree just popping out. Enjoy finding signs of spring in your life this week. I will be writing more in my nature journal, and I will think of you. Remember, my Mamaroneck friends, even when we're inside a lot, we can still write wild.